Thank you, Ash. Which gives me a little problem in that I have to talk about two roles. Because I'm supposed to convince you that the role that I'm talking about is absolutely the best role and the most important role on the committee. But I think there's actually a way out of that. Because in fact, we're a team and each role is very important. When you talk about team skills, it's about people doing their individual roles and really believing that their role is the most important role. Which is why I think we're having this session to encourage you to learn it before you get busy, because then you'll be efficient with it, and that's how you best serve the committee. But anyway, so in terms of talking about the corporate secretary, I can only share with you my experience working with my corporate secretary, not my secretary last year. And the role was very, very important in terms of running the macro agenda of the club. So as I was setting up my committee meeting, I would work with the secretary to say, what are we trying to achieve here? And then what is going to be the agenda? We go back and forth, we get that sorted out. And then as I would run the committee meeting, I felt that the most important thing that I need to do, and if you look at employee satisfaction surveys and that type of thing, they say one thing which is really extremely important to employees, maybe more so than money, is my opinion counts. So here we are, we're a voluntary organization. When we're having those committee meetings, it's got to be a well-functioning committee. And myself working as president, it was really important that it was actually the secretary's meeting. It wasn't my meeting because I was really in it as opposed to outside of it. And he would tell us if we're getting off track and that type of thing. And to Graham's point, while it's still fresh, agenda is out, bang, I review it, and then actually as a secretary, you're in pretty good shape because you don't really have much to do until the next one. So in terms of discharging those duties, it's very important. And there's a lot of studies that say how poor we are in terms of running effective meetings. So I think there's a really good opportunity as a secretary to really focus on that. So yeah, I would say that would be the main thing. Maintaining an accurate membership roster, submitting the officer list to headquarters, which doesn't come up till June. And then as far as the Sergeant of Arms, very, very important role. I might argue with Ash that it's actually the Sergeant of Arms that sets the tone for the meeting. Because the Sergeant of Arms should have already set up the meeting, be ready to go, and then be there to greet people, introduce people, that type of thing. Because very often, people might think that's the president's role, but the president's role is, I'm working on this hook, and I'm doing that a little bit. Usually you're busy with the Toastmaster of the day. So that's very important and very different than the secretary role. It's a very micro role in terms of, I'm really into the detail on a daily basis. And I think that we're a morning club. So at Barclay Square, I would always send out notes. Barclay Square, be on time, right? So, and with the last meeting we had, somebody came in, they thought, I'm going to get in earlier than the Sergeant of Arms. And there was the Sergeant of Arms, warmly welcoming everyone, so on and so forth. And it's really, really appreciated. So setting up the meeting and greeting people with enthusiasm. It is a front and center, very important role. And then collecting and tallying the votes, making sure that the stuff that we need, inventorying, if you're giving out awards and that type of thing, which I think most clubs do. And in fact, I guess what we did this year was we added a second Sergeant of Arms so that you would always have that coverage there, because we really feel it when the Sergeant of Arms isn't there. And I guess I sort of was thinking, what picture do I have of the Sergeant of Arms? And I thought too, a year ago when everybody was, all the recognition that Lord Sebastian Coe was having because all the Olympics and all those logistics were set up. Yeah. So